Digital storytelling is a sort of digital media production that allows everyday people to share aspects of their story. The media used may include the digital equivalent of film techniques, full motion video with sound, stills, audio only, or any other forms of non-physical media which individuals can use to tell a story or present their own idea. One can define digital storytelling as the process by which diverse people share their life stories and creative imagining with others. It is exceptional and innovative efforts in storytelling through visual means, photos, graphics, illustrations, videos, virtual reality, or other emerging media. So to teach us more and share us with more knowledge on the concept of visual digital marketing, we have Ms. Natalia Talkowska, founder of Natalia Design, to improvise us on visual digital storytelling. Welcome, Ms. Natalia. So she's been called many things: idea consultant, communication specialist, visual storyteller, creative content strategist. But what she is really after is to make us think a bit differently, communicate more easily, and to learn what makes people tick. So there she is. She's been speaking internationally a number of times, also on TEDxWomenWroclaw in Poland, and TEDxDIT in Germany. So conferences are internally within the companies. She will share her extended knowledge with us as well. So there she is.
Yes, no, I'm super excited to be here. I see a few people joining in and hopefully as well around the world, as you mentioned. So welcome, everyone. My name is Natalia Talkowska. Usually I make more sense. I run Natalia Design, which is a creative design agency based in London. I'm calling to you from London. It's a beautiful sunny day, so I don't know why I have my jacket on, but I wanted to look as professional as I can for this, so bear with me. We are really good at visual storytelling. So companies come to us basically asking, can you help us with this pitch? We need to impress the client. We need to make them buy from us. We need to make them engaged and all that stuff. And they come to us to think about their new strategy. How can we visualize it? They have an event and they're thinking, well, how can we capture all this amazing stuff that people are not going to forget next year? And so on and so forth. A lot of visual content for companies, social media content, trainings, and all that good stuff. So basically, we live in this world of how can we engage your audience, whether that's your team or whether that's your client or your stakeholder. So here I am, super, super pleased and happy and grateful to be part of this amazing, amazing speaker lineup. Please do tell me if I'm going overboard with my time, because I'm known to be quite talkative. So I hope that you can just poke me here if I take too much time. And let's see if I can scroll these quickly. Right, so hopefully everyone can see this first slide with TEDxLugano logo. I don't know if I should get any yes, we can see, but hopefully everyone can see that. So basically that's also something that I founded 4 years ago now. It's called TEDxLugano. Usually I start my talks from that. Well, I can't see you in person, so that's a bit of a tricky one, and I can't tell you pick up all your papers and pens, which normally we have ready for these kinds of things. But I like to still do a little challenge, because why not, and kind of make your brains work for a bit whilst we're on this kind of creative little journey. So TEDxLugano is basically events for anyone that says, I can't draw. Now, I wonder from all of these people that are watching now and tuning in, how many people actually can agree with that statement, because a lot of people that I met in the past, whether that's clients or anyone in my zone, network, friends, they would always say, well, you draw so well, it comes to you naturally. I don't draw, I'm confused. My last drawing was when I was a kid. Which is okay, because basically if we don't practice something and we stop at certain age, we are not great at it, so it's fine. But I just thought, I don't believe in that. We all can do that, we just stop doing that. And I wanted to bring it back in form of as adults, we can connect and have fun and draw as we go. So I would like you to just keep that in mind. And I'll scroll here, I see it's working hopefully for you. Normally, I ask people to find a friend and draw their confession, for example, because I'm feeling like that today. But I'm giving you a challenge in your own homes, at your own offices, wherever you're listening to this or watching this. Pick up a paper later today or even now if you feel like it whilst you listen to me talking, and think about your own little confession. If you were sitting with a friend, what could you draw? And I know it might be a bit like, oh, what is this drawing thing? I don't do it. But I'm giving you a little challenge that I would love you to do later today. Pick up any small piece of paper, pick up any pen you have. I'm sure everyone has this at home, and draw literally in 2 minutes your little confession. That could be, I don't know, I'm useless at dancing, I went on a date yesterday that went really bad or something, whatever it is, or I oversleep every day, whatever that is. I don't care how you will draw it, only the thing that I care for is that your brain's working, doing something else, and you're actually doing it, because that's how we all get to get better at anything, if we actually do it. So I hopefully you'll take that challenge. I'll leave it with you. Again, I can't really look at your faces and just kind of scan you now all and see if you're actually doing it. So I'm just going to hope you are. And with that, I will move on to another slide. So it's another thing that I would like you to just have a look for a second and have a think. What can you see here? And again, I'm not going to get your answers straight away, but I would like you to just give it 1 or 2 minutes and have a look at this picture. And basically, this picture kind of describes how my brain works since I was born, let's say. And I wonder if any of you can relate to that in any form or way. As you can see, it's random doodles. They don't make too much sense. I wonder what you would say if you could join in the conversation and just kind of, if I asked you, what can you see here? What would you say? Usually what people kind of start coming up with is like, oh, I see some numbers, and then I see some mountain and some people, some bank or something. Basically, this is my drawing before a very important meeting that I had with a client. And instead of doing any summary or any bullet points or something like that, I just doodled it. And trust me, guys, it makes a lot of sense to me. To you, it might be like, what is happening here? I would need to do it myself. But this is all I needed to get ready for a very important presentation, very important pitch that we had with a client. And day before, I literally doodled it just to keep that going in my head. And I went to present it and I was totally fine. So I'm just presenting to you kind of how my brain works since I was a kid. That's how I survived school, just so you know. I don't know, again, if you can relate. But basically, when I was at school, everyone always had these long sheets before any test with written, kind of facts about the war and this and this and that. And I just came with little doodles like that. I would even be confident enough to put them on my notebook, put them in front of my teacher right away. What happened? Okay, there was this fight in this year, and this happened, and this king did this and that. And I was totally fine. And when my teacher was passing, she was like, oh, lovely little doodles, lovely notebook. And I'll be like, mm-hmm. So again, visuals, 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 just so you understand how my brain always have been processing information. I don't know if you can relate to that. I'll come back to this. What was this meeting later on, if I remember? But for now, keep that in mind. See if you can relate to that. And again, I will be saying that now something that we all hopefully know. If this is new to you, well, fact of the day, because we are all visual creatures. Most of us. I'm sure there's people around us who prefer sounds or prefer to read something, but most of us, if we take everyone in this globe, and this is a global conference, I'm sure there's all sorts of people tuning in. We're all visual creatures, and we all basically sharing stories through pictures is what we know and respond to best since the beginning of humankind. How deep is that for a Friday? But this is actually true, you guys. Visuals, in general, if I take into percent around us, that's what people respond to, that's what we understand, that's what we engage with mostly, because it's something visual. And I always say, I'm not just taking this out of the bag. These kinds of people are my mates from the past who allowed me to do what I do, who allowed me to basically enjoy my life and be very visual. People back in the days, what were they doing as first type of communication? They were drawing. I just literally took it from Google, few pictures. They were telling stories like that. They were telling other people that would come their way what's their family like, what's their story of their family, how they moved about, what was the fights between them, what were the stories basically. So again, when you think about it, this is pretty old school knowledge, and I'm literally just writing on it because this is the first way that people were communicating. And whenever I kind of think about what I'm doing now and how people work, thanks to these people, we actually then developed the language and developed much more high-end way of communicating, but visuals were first. And then when we think about it, we were all kids, right? At some point, I'm sure there's adults now listening to me and tuning in. So we were all kids. We can't deny that, yeah? And we all probably even once drew as a kid. Maybe it wasn't your favorite thing to do. That's totally fine. I wasn't great at running, quickly or basketball, but I still did it. I'm sure we were all drawing at some point, and I'm sure it came to us much more naturally. When I think about my nephew, he's 8. If I ask him, draw me a dinosaur with a rabbit tail, do you think he overthinks it and gets like, but rabbit, but like dinosaur, but how do you do that? But like, I need some time, I need to research it, I need to think about it. Oh my God. No, he doesn't. He literally picks up the paper and pen and he's like, here you go, Auntie. What next? We all did it as kids. It was very natural to us. We didn't overthink it. It was just something that we do, and the imagination is working, and literally was natural. And then when we get all adult, we have kids, we have jobs, we're getting all serious, we're putting our jackets on, our glasses on. Suddenly no one has time, and suddenly we're all busy, and suddenly drawing seems like, well, if I'm interested in it, I'll do it. Otherwise, like, who cares? Maybe I'll draw something for my kid, otherwise I'm busy, I'm out. Right? And the same thing happens at work. Who does visuals anymore? If you're not a designer at work, or not something specific is needed, like a poster or something, nah, if you kind of come to a meeting and start doodling around, people will be like, are you okay, man? We need those notes by tomorrow. So again, think about it. That's not something that we do after we become adults. But then I'll go into the business world a bit more, because we do work a lot with YouTube, with Facebook, and people like that. And we can clearly see what's happening with the social online world, isn't it? Suddenly everyone's moving much more and more to Instagram. Now, I don't know how many of you are fans of it or not. I'm not even asking you if you are. All I'm giving you is facts, because I'm getting them from those people directly. Instagram basically is going up crazily every year. More and more people are moving there. Why? It's not purely how to make your braids or, what's the next amazing food out there. It's basically we all have fewer time. We're all distracted a bit. Life is getting a bit in the way, and suddenly we're like, oh, juggling our lives, and it's too much. Visuals are the easiest thing we feel like we can respond to. So Facebook days are a bit kind of leaning away. I'm sure some of you are still there. Some of you are like, I'm leaving, and feeling very intense about it, I would say. But in general, Instagram is going up because it's pictures, it's visuals, it's simple, it doesn't take too much of your time. You don't even have to think about it too much. You literally connect, scroll, have a look, enjoy it, have a think. Now, next one, Pinterest. Now, who of you is using Pinterest here? I'll be honest with you guys. When I first looked at Pinterest years ago, all I thought is, oh, it's just a bunch of some pictures for ladies who are getting married or who need a new haircut or, whatever that is. Then I actually really appreciate the fact that our company was working with Pinterest last year, and you can see how they're changing and everything. They're really, really changing now. And to my surprise, you suddenly learn that you can buy a car from there. You can learn new facts about certain topic. You can connect with people on different ways, and you can buy your new makeup line if you want or something on Pinterest. You're like, huh? I thought it's just like for women who are like, looking for a new dress. And actually, it's not. If you go to Pinterest, and I suggest you jump on the train, all the advertising is going there as well. Companies are moving there in a very subtle way. Brands are kind of getting in there to get your attention, but in a very subtle way, because it's all about visuals again. It's all about telling stories. And we're not as much interested in the kind of like buy now, buy now. It's more kind of you'll find me whether you want it or not in the stream of pictures. And more people spend much more time on Pinterest, get things done, buy things, connect with people, even look for new opportunities, which is a bit crazy when you think about it, but it's possible. So observe that one. Now this one I like to have fun with. Before every of my talk, I just kind of screenshot my latest WhatsApp. And not just to show you how I'm emotionally unstable, but basically just to show you this is the way to communicate these days. Who doesn't have WhatsApp here or any sort of other texting kind of messaging, app or something? So what I'm trying to convince you here about is that in the past, if you met a friend for I don't know, you wanted to meet for a dinner or something, you would go with either call or writing. It would be, oh, hi, let's meet at 7 here. You'll be like, oh, okay, sure, I'll see you there at 7, this station, whatever. If someone now texts me, I'll see you there at 7 or something, I'm sending this, I'll show you, or I'm sending this, or any other emoji that I'm feeling like that day, right? Or if I'm running late, instead of writing you, oh my God, I'm running late, I'm sorry, I'll be in 10 minutes, I'm just probably gonna send an emoji with like a sweaty face and like, I'm late or something. Again, just wanted to get your attention on the fact how communication is changing. Less is more. We don't have time. No one cares about saying a lot of things. And if you say a lot of things, you're like, oh, it's too much for me. Because at work, we still have so much text to read and digest every day and kind of, update each other on. As you can observe, and just observe in your own communication, this is how people are starting to communicate. And it's kind of coming back to the past when we used to use these simple visuals that can express a lot. So have a look at your WhatsApp and kind of the ways you communicate. I'm sure you all have your favorite emojis. I'm not going to bore you with my favorite emojis, but just to give you an idea of what's happening in terms of visual world coming in much more and more. And visuals are symbols that we respond to and connect with naturally. Now, what I mean by that. So I'm giving you a bit of a, found it on Google many years ago. Always update these things when I have time, basically. What can you see here? So it's a bunch of people, right? At different sort of social gatherings, let's call them. I don't know if there's any Beyonce fans in here. I am definitely one. Shout out to Beyonce fans. Don't know if you're here. But basically, what can you see on the left? It's a bunch of girls that dressed up similar way, and we can suddenly straight away find out that, or think, if you're anyhow a fan, you can think, oh, they must be going to this event. On the top, would you say that these people are, I don't know, going to a corporate meeting in a minute? Wouldn't think so. Or maybe the guys down there who's watching World Cup. I'm sure you understand the where are they now? So basically, all I'm trying to kind of say here is that we all naturally respond as well to visual symbols. It doesn't have to be that it's all drawings, it's all posters, it's all graphic design, logo or something. We as humans react to each other in a different way when we can visually express some sort of idea, some sort of community, something like that. So basically, as you can see, there's people who go to concerts, dress certain way, people who go to festivals, to go to games. Notice that when you're next time, maybe even traveling or something, and you're a bit lost, and then you see a guy with a t-shirt with the flag on, let's say your flag, you'll naturally be much more inclined to smile at him at least, or come up to him and be like, hey man, are you as well from Russia or something? And he'll be like, yeah. And then you can just have that conversation like, do you know where can I find XYZ? Doesn't matter. What I'm trying to explain here is that we all naturally respond to different things. So why we are all dressed up like that when we go to a corporate meeting? Because we want to kind of create this even, let's say, idea and create this visual symbol that everyone fits in the picture, if that makes sense. Just have a think about it. Observe when you kind of go to different gatherings and things like that, how people visually kind of connect. And then I never like to overdo it and just kind of, sharing with you my personal life, which makes me feel self-conscious. But here we go. It's for the purpose of the message. So this is one of my house parties. I like to ask people to dress up, do fancy dress parties. Don't know if any of you do it. And again, it's not to boast about how many friends I have. It's more to show you this kind of sort of make a point. Why? Because when I ask them to dress up, they quicker connect, they quicker respond to each other. People that don't know each other, suddenly I see this magical thing which makes them come up to each other easier, have a laugh easier, and be like, oh, what are you dressed as? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Natalia's crazy and all that stuff, which of course comes with it. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever there's a sort of again, visual symbol that connects people together, they easier respond to you, they're more engaged, it's easier to say hi. It's little tricks, as you can see, that I do with even my friends, although they don't know, but basically after each party, they're just quicker friends as well. So hopefully you get the point. Use that with your friends. Trust me, it's a good thing. I'm seeing your questions, guys, but I guess I will go through my presentation and then we can for sure answer some of these if there's time. Again, doing my job first. Stick with me. Visual storytelling examples that work. So I just like to get to this practical part of this talk where I give you hopefully some ideas where you could use these visual storytelling at your work. Now, just so you remember, not everything is going to work for you. Not everything will connect with you maybe, or not everything you might feel like you need to use at your work, or it's totally not your part of your job to do these things. All I'm trying to give you some ideas, something to make your brain work, and just think where you could use that or someone you know at your work. Not to brag, but these are the kinds of people that call us. And why is it always important for me to show you that is that when I was starting my business almost 7 years ago now in London, I would never think that people like the government will get in touch, that they need some visual storytelling done for ABC, Googles of the world, Twitters, and all these kinds of blue chip companies that call us on a regular basis. We have beautiful lineup of clients that work with us for years now because there's always something they need to explain, they need to sell, they need to promote, there's a pitch coming up, there's an important client coming up, there's a team that needs to be much more aligned, or there's a big plan for the next 5 years that no one has a clue how to put together in one piece. So just keep that in mind, that it's just kind of for everyone. We're all humans, we all go to work, and we all have similar projects, whether that's the government or whether you're working literally for yourself. It doesn't matter, we all need to explain stuff. Now I'll start with something very practical. So it's boost your event's visibility. So that's how we started, really. There was no name even for this thing. I don't know if some of you are familiar with this, hopefully by now. People with RSA Animate kind of started it in a big way after TED Talks. If you follow and love TED, I love it. And basically this sort of in real time visual storytelling, creating visual output of what speakers talk about, what they present, capturing key points of what someone's saying. That's where we started. We used to call it live sketching, graphic facilitation, graphic recording, scribing, whatever you want to call it. Someone even called it live harvesting, which I thought it's kind of a bit out there. And to be fair with you, when we used that with clients, it didn't really connect. So now we just call it, we visually cover your event, your key points from event, so that you have this beautiful visual memento that you can come back to, reuse, promote, use in your blogs, use in your emails, use on Twitter. And why I'm trying to show you here these examples, I always say it's not just pretty pictures. Now, I don't think you should be investing even £1 in something that doesn't give you anything back, right? I mean, it's always good to put your, kind of hopes into new ways of communicating and stuff like that and marketing. But this stuff should work for you. I always say it's not even about the visuals, it's not about the drawings. Forget the drawings. It's what they do for you. So here, a little example, even sometimes we just screenshot stuff. And this is not even the final numbers, but just to give you an idea, when we go to these big conferences, and we visualize, let's say, someone's talk, and we need to tweet it straight away after the talk with all the beautiful hashtags and tagging that we need to do. The tweets usually 90% of the time, if there's nothing else happening, are literally the main tweets that people see. They have the highest impressions, and basically people respond to them the most. So just giving you numbers here, hopefully you can see them, that it's just a practical marketing tool, really, content marketing tool, digital, of course, because most of stuff that we do at conferences these days is on iPads. We used to do a lot of paper stuff, but everyone's moving to that. And again, not to brag, but if you go to Microsoft Business profile, they even blast it on their background because they love working with us. It always gives them basically much more impressions, many more responses, more people engaged. The speakers love it because they reshare the stuff. It's basically everyone is a win-win. Everyone sees us better. Everyone loves it because the speaker will love it because they have this talk drawn now. They are very happy for them to reuse it because everywhere there's your brand. So just have a think about how in a clever way you could actually boost your event from such a different angle that your obvious photographs, your obvious videography and all that stuff. And here also just to show you, that was at YouTube. Amazing influencers invited to YouTube in London, and basically we were creating live stories of what they talk about. Everyone got a beautiful kind of visual memento of what they want to do with their next kind of productions and things like that. This is an example from City Hall in London last year, where we covered Sadiq Khan's talk, our mayor of London, amazing person. And basically, I actually drew his talk yesterday, which is so random. He just pops up in my life a lot. But basically, just to show you again, it's the government. Yeah, the government. You would think like is the last person or the last organization that wants to or cares to do something like that out there. No, we all need to cover our stories in a certain way. And these days, there's so much stuff happening. They had like sheets and sheets of PowerPoint and presentations and things, and they thought, you know what, can you please cover his talk and visuals, because we know this will be the most engaging way for everyone to participate in. And we were at City Hall, and it was beautifully displayed on the screens, just giving you a very practical way of how you can play with that and share that and kind of just boost that visibility of your event in a bit different way. So that's how we started. Now then we got into this whole thing about exciting your team about the new pitch or strategy. A lot of companies come to us and they say, oh, we have this pitch tomorrow. We need to visualize our strategy because everyone's kind of forgetting what's the 5 points of the strategy or something. And that's kind of another way of using your visual storytelling. So that was, for example, 2 years ago, I think, with Heineken. We were invited to their workshops about thinking about the future and what they can do. More internal kind of stuff. So look at that more kind of external, the conferences. This is much more internal stuff. That's mostly what we do, actually, internal stuff. You're not going to see us on banners when you drive your car. And that was amazing because the energy went up so much higher when after 2 full days, we captured their plan, we captured what's the next steps, we captured it all, and people really seem to enjoy it and love it. Now, another few examples just to give you just some flavor. That was a pitch between a company to a company, so we made it possible, we made it visual. They were pitching a client, and basically they signed off 5 another years with the companies. Boom. This is another kind of little pitch, let's say, of, again, between company to company, what they want to do with them in the future, just to give you kind of different ways as well how to show it. Then we also are asked often to do more moving pictures. So that's animation. That's kind of, you can move those pictures. You can make it more lively. So if you want to literally sit down, play that video for them, or send it over even before you see your client, impress them, do something extra if you want to send out, or use it at your events as your background, or use it on your website. There's so many ways to tell that story. Please tell me, guys, if I'm talking for too long, because I feel like I need to kind of pick up my pace. So let's do it. Another way of showing a kind of the visual storytelling. So that was a pitch, but on a big wall. If you have a big wall and a huge client coming in, you want to impress them, blast it on the wall. Doesn't matter if they painted it over next day. My God. It's not even, again, about the visuals, it's what it did for them, because they literally ran the client through that story and it did help to sell. So I'll just say it again, it actually most of the time helps them to engage them. That's the power of it. Again, it's not about the pictures themselves. Then walk the talk on team culture. So we work a lot inside the companies, with the companies, and often they come to us and say, well, the team is not really engaged that much. What do we do? How do we do it? And this was another, for example, project where we sat down with them. They have 11 years of legacy, just amazing 11 years of legacy. And we thought, and you've got this crazy 20-meter wall in a corridor that no one interacts at, no one talks, people pass each other literally like in a hospital. And we thought, like, why don't we tell this freaking amazing story on your 20-meter wall, that every time that you have clients coming in or you have team passing or anyone like that, they are all there on the wall. They will care now to have conversations, to talk about it, to show it and engage everyone. So again, just have a look how crazy was this. It was 3 days of work, 4 hands, but we put every single year something amazing happened, and people really felt really connected with it and felt like it's a very meaningful thing to come to this work every day and be part of the team. So that was amazing. Just to give you another example, quick one. This is something so simple, but I always like to put it in. So basically, this is a digital way of kind of showing what's the next plans and vision and strategy for, as you can see, Deloitte. We work with them a lot. They printed it out, they blasted it on the wall for a month, and they asked everyone from the company, and I'm talking about everyone, because they didn't want this time to just senior kind of management to come up with the next strategy and vision, and everyone else is there just following. They asked everyone, whoever wants to, put your thoughts throughout the month about the talent. Put your thoughts about the clients. What do you think we should do with the new markets? What do you think we should do about innovation? After a month, we don't have that photo because it was all kind of private and we can't share these things. There were loads of messages and ideas, and it was all anonymous, so no one had to stress that they are leaving a comment if they don't want to. There were some challenging comments as well. There were some amazing comments, but boy, did it help them to kind of gather everyone's ideas in such a simple way through such a simple visual. You would think it's nothing, but it did help them. Now, we like to tell stories and entertain on social media. Everyone's on social media, and there's a reason why we all love cats and stuff like that, because life is hard enough and we just want to be entertained as well, right? So just few examples of companies, practical examples, what we do in terms of social media and content and stuff like that. So we worked in the past with Citymapper. Don't know if you know these guys. They're big, basically anywhere you go, mostly in Europe, I think maybe in US as well. If you need to get around city, you just download that app. A little plug, but basically we love them. I use it personally, otherwise I'll be lost. And in the past, they had these like page where there was information about the app itself. No one kind of was interested enough. There were like some tips about how to go about your day in a city. And they asked us to create these little visuals on the app to kind of make them humorous, but also very informative. And people seem to really, really love it. That was back in the days before they really launched their one brand. And it was an amazing kind of ride with them to visualize these tips, and people were sharing them and all that. This is an example of a dance school in London that basically we decided to share each member's kind of visual and get the members more engaged. We were thinking, how can we make the members kind of be the main forefront kind of, let's say, highlight of the company. And we shared literally drawings of all different members. They loved it. They were tagging each other. It was crazy. Hashtags, oh my God, I'm on their website, all that stuff. Again, how can you engage? Don't just throw stuff at people. Ask them stuff. Make them the forefront of the picture. Use those simple, fun, visual ways to engage them and kind of get their attention. People loved sharing that stuff. There's another app called Plum. If you're familiar, it's all about saving your money and stuff like that. We work with them a lot. And basically, it's for younger generation to learn how to save their money. And because, we all adults know, put in the bank and all that stuff, but younger people are still a bit confused and spend too much money, obviously, like we all did as younger kids. And we just play with different kind of, visuals in terms of like, is life getting in your way, and literally like a boulder of life and person with no money. Seems like it's such a kind of a life thing to do, but in social media they add these visuals now and then, and it really spikes the engagement. People sign up, people reshare, people tag their friends, oh Paul, that's you, or something. it's really a lot of fun in terms of how simple visuals can again make someone look. Get everyone on the same page. So I always say that, we have so many projects like what's our next strategy? What's this program going to be about? Here are a few simple examples of how you can express. This is 7-page summary done in few visuals. Basically a mentoring process that we were asked to do in literally one day for the directors to come and buy into it. And instead of just, trying to do so many PowerPoints and slides, we literally put all the steps of the presentation into pictures. It's such an old example, but I really enjoy it because it just shows how simplicity really wins most of the time. Less is more, guys. No one has time. Say what you mean, otherwise you're out of this room and no one remembers what you said. And it's the cruelty of this world, but that's what it is because we're all overwhelmed. Now, these are a bit bigger kind of projects that we do for a few months. We sit down with the companies. Again, this is a train process that we were working on for 3 months, but again, it clearly shows what's happening to the train from the way it starts to the end. And just to give you an idea of, these could be very small things that you need to plan and strategize on, or these can be really big kind of company next steps and things like that. As you can see, journeys and what's going to happen with us in the future and how do we see us growing in the future. So just to give you just gonna run you through these. Again, I hope I'm okay with time. Please let me know, anyone, if I'm not. People care when it's personal. So I always say, especially these days, it's all about the kind of way we communicate and advertise and brand ourselves is different. We need to listen to the audience. We need to make it personal to why Anne likes your company, likes your product, likes your services, and wants to talk to you or cares to share your stuff. It's not about like, oh, I'm just Coca-Cola, buy me, drink me. It's these days are gone, yeah? So we need to kind of engage people in a more different way. And just fewer examples of, we created these visuals for a company where someone's birthdays are a certain day and he's from Denmark. And you probably wouldn't care, but normally these kinds of visuals literally so help the teams in terms of feeling that culture and being part of something, and it surprises them and it's nice. And you would think it's like, oh, why do I need to invest in that kind of stuff? Like, nah, no one has time for this. Web development, UX, stuff like that. That's all important. HR, selling, of course, but this is something a bit different that will give you results in the long run. Please trust me, because I've been doing it for a while now and I see the results. We work a lot with YouTube. It's not just some random lady sitting on the beach. We're asked a lot to draw up influencers' lives and what they care about, and often YouTube and companies like Google surprise these people at, for example, PR events or something like that, and they just surprise them with beautiful artwork on maybe their latest project, maybe what they care about. And you would be surprised how they love it, how they share it. It means a lot to them. YouTube really loves that kind of stuff and all that, and they love it because it's about them. So again, it's just a mashup of someone's life, literally, stuff like that. Oh, thank you. Someone said I have a lot of time. Good. I'm always aware that I speak too much, guys. So just like one thing about Natalia, if you ever meet me for a drink, whoo, okay. Anyways, just again to show you these kinds of visuals, creating someone's life in one picture. That's actually me, as you can see, from 2012. I'm not going to dive into it because no one needs to know about more than they should right now. It's all professional talk. But I guess in 1 second you can kind of gather what was my life like in 2012. There you go. When actually Natalia Design started early 2012 and stuff like that. So I was told actually to draw it up again in 2018. We'll see how I get on with that. I can share with you. Right. Okay. Resist the usual. So I just don't like doing things that everyone else is doing because it's actually part of our job not to think like everyone else. So this is just an example of photo shoot. Now, how many people need to have a photo shoot here for a team, for the next event, of the speakers, anything like that, LinkedIn, stuff like that? Look at my LinkedIn. It's literally the picture that you can see here. And I will be honest with you, I don't care if someone knows me or not, how many times I get a comment, I love your profile picture. Oh, you like, this is so cool. Like, how did you do that? It's just me staring up there and a cartoon. Doesn't matter, but we love to play with that. We love to mix the realities. The visuals really add a bit more life to what's happening. We always ask people just kind of put some music on and we ask them to have fun and just do their thing, whatever it works for them. add some visuals to it after. Brilliant results, trust me. Think about your new website, your team, something that you can do even at your offices, something you can do for the client. So many ways of using it. I'll just leave you with those thoughts. So your brains will be hurting after this. Again, not everything's going to work with you, for you, but just have a think. Make training fun again. So whenever we do training and visual storytelling and creativity, brainstorming, we do doodly-doo as well as a school. So we teach people how to use more visual storytelling in everyday life, and we run these events for them, script writing, whatever that is. You name your trainings. I'm sure you have a lot of them. We just like to have fun with them, and we use a lot of visual games to basically run these trainings. So what I mean by that is that something that I asked you in the beginning, the doodly-doo question, to draw your confession, might sound so stupid and silly and childish. We're here for this important workshop. What are you asking me about? There's like senior team here, Natalia. Trust me, breaks the ice, makes people talk, and suddenly everyone's connecting in a different way. So make sure you do at least think about it. Use some visual little cues and games. I can always tell you about that more. There's blogs that we've written about it. There's doodly-doo website that you can go to. Have an inspiration. Do something differently. Because we all know that if someone has an all day of training, whew, we get tired, and coffees and cookies suddenly are not enough. Now, at our work, we're known as well for using a bit of humor because, again, I like to have fun with it. I don't care. If you talk to me on LinkedIn, I'm a bit of a tease. So if you speak to me a bit too seriously, I'll be a bit like, oh, just be a human, please. Be a human. Example of kind of using humor in a serious scenario. One of our clients, they weren't paid for 3 months or something like that, and they were like, Natalia, is there anything we can do to engage them, get their attention? We're not being paid. It's a small company. We need to get our cash flowing. What's happening? So we decided to this time not send another email. We drew this up quickly of a slug going with an invoice to the client. And I kid you not, that's why I use it every time. They responded next day, ha ha ha, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Our finance team has changed and we didn't know. Of course, it's going to be paid 10% more. We're so sorry. This was brilliant. Our boss saw it. We want to work with you, by the way. Oh, they invited them for another conversation, which I don't know if they used, but there you go. Simple. It's not about the drawing, it's what it does for you. And what it did here was catch someone's attention, respond, millions of emails every day. We all know that we all get millions of emails every day, especially if you work in a corporate environment. You have probably 2 phones. You can't even keep up with that stuff. Here you go, another idea how visual can catch someone's attention. There's another little one. Our client asked us to create this thing for their client. Don't ask me more questions about it, but it helped them to solidify another 3 years of collaboration, like monthly amazing partnership. And it made the senior team super laugh. They're apparently putting it up in the offices. Again, don't ask me more, just giving you examples how simple things can help, and humor. And I always say, have fun. If you can't have fun a bit at work, which is something that we do most as adults, we spend the most time at work. If you can't have fun at all, then kind of that's a bit sad. So just little few things from my experience that I'll show you. I'm about to slowly finish this. So basically, this was a quick competition online on Twitter ages ago. Now my friend asked, who wants to draw me? I run this burger place. If you win, you get burgers for free for life. Guess what? I won. And I have burgers for life. He's my good friend. Not that I go there every day because I wouldn't look like that. I wouldn't probably fit in the screen. Bless him. But he's amazing. Tom runs burger place and I want burgers for life. So if I ever crave it, I go and eat it. Again, not what the picture it looks like, what it does. We work a lot with influencers. I told you on YouTube. I'm kind of, I can say I'm friends with some. And basically I saw this like one influencer or something in beauty industry and she was a bit feeling low, something happened better online or whatever. And I just blasted this little visual for her. Don't know if you can see, that's also from years ago, but basically a year ago. But basically these likes and these retweets were going a bit crazy. And I got, I think, like there was like 10 new projects or something after that. It wasn't done for that purpose, but again, the visuals will make you look, will make you react, will make you do something. This we've done just for fun. Don't know if there's any Meghan and Harry fans here. Royal family was a big deal in this country. They got married. We blasted this little visual of their engagement day, and we were trending for 4 days on Instagram as the main visual for royal couple. Now it sounds like nothing, but I've been invited in August to go to the where the queen is for a tea party, something for other entrepreneurs. Thank you. Drop the mic. Am I making any sense here? It's not that I drew the thing, it's the right moment, the right time, someone looked, it engaged someone, there was a reaction. That's what I'm after, the clever ways of the right timing and the right visual. Now this one, feel free to judge me, I don't care, I couldn't care less. Yes, I'm one of those people that in the past when I had more time, I would watch Kardashians. Shoot me now, couldn't care less. I'm safe behind the screen, no one can judge me. I'm trying to give you an idea what happened. So one day, back in the days when Facebook looked a bit less exciting, as you can see, old days, Khloe Kardashian was like, oh, I need a new background photo, send me some ideas. I had some time, I remember, in the evening, drew it up, sent it over, couldn't care less about what happened. Next day, I kid you not, I wake up to crazy emails, a few phone calls, and my friends going like, did you see? And basically she put my visual that I'm like even not proud of this font. What is this font? It's awful when I think about it now. And it got us new business. Am I making any sense? If I'm not by this time, I don't know what. Then another thing I just wanted to engage you with, because as I said to you, I like having fun with these things. So recently me and my friend Matt started this podcast called DrawPod. Go and find it online on Twitter or Instagram, #DrawPod. Basically, we're drawing on the radio. So we ask you every week, now the season 1 has finished, to draw a sound that you hear. It might sound super silly, it might sound super stupid, but people get engaged and draw their stuff, and it's fun. And join the online Twitter family stuff, because boy, it's getting funnier and funnier every week. Something so silly, something so simple, yet people suddenly as adults are joining in, engaging, because there's no judgment. No one cares how you're drawing this thing. We just want you to have fun and draw again more as adults. And that's something I'm really, really passionate that we don't use enough visual communication. I got there, guys. Can you believe it? And my last comment before I stop is I always say, as at the beginning, not everything's going to work for you. Not everything is going to be in line with your work. Some things you'll be even like, nah, okay, that's great, but like whatever. If you pick one thing from today, one, and test it, whether in your personal life, in your work life, with your team, with your client, go and try this new pitch. Go and strategize maybe something differently. Maybe put an idea in visuals. You can even do some stuff yourself. You don't need agency like us to even help you with that stuff. Not that I don't want you to call me, but just to give you an idea, try at least one thing. If anything gave you an idea how you can differently engage with people, make them react to you, make them do something for you. Don't just throw stuff and wait for everyone to come your way, because often it doesn't work. Yeah. So if I can ask you to just test one thing, that would be amazing. And the meeting that I showed you there with those doodles, that was with a bank, and it was for a new pitch for the bank, for a new idea and everything. And literally it was an hour talk from me, and I drew it in like a few little doodles. So maybe just a little suggestion, try next time to add some little doodles into your presentation or preparation and see if it helps you remembering stuff. Because again, naturally, we're all visual people. I'm not inventing this. This is a fact. I'm just using it at my work, using it thankfully personally, and it really makes a difference.
Thank you very much, Natalia.
Thank you so much.
Interesting. I have to learn drawing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll start. As you challenged me, like, I'm going to write my first, I'm going to draw my first confession.
See, it's not about learning. Just do it. Just do it.
All right. So I'm also going to take you live to our auditorium as well. Meanwhile, online participants, I know there were 3 questions already. We still, expect more questions from you.
Let's do that. Let's there we go.
All right. So meanwhile, there was a question there about preparing presentations on generation X, Y, Z.
Okay, so that was from Roger. Thank you so much, Roger, for tuning in. Hopefully you're still here so I can hear that answer. I mean, it's only my suggestions. Of course, everyone's going to have different suggestions, but even yesterday I was at a quite big private event where they were discussing Generation Z and how it works like and how the communication with these kinds of people, of course, younger than us and who grew up online needs to be so much different than every one of us from different generations, whichever you are. I mean, Google calls me an old millennial. When I was at the meeting with them, they wanted some comments from everyone, and they said, Natalia, you're an old millennial, so we don't really want your opinion. Of course, it's a joke, but you can see how basically there's so many different types of people. And in terms of, I would say, types of stories for varied audience, you need to first of all know who's your audience, right? So hopefully that's very clear for you. Don't just throw out stuff and communicate things on Instagram or somewhere without even knowing who's looking at you, because I would think that's the main thing we all need to do, understand who's our audience. So let's say for our agency, I don't get clients 18-year-olds yet. We get clients, of course, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and stuff like that, because that's the kind of people that call us. So first, understand your audience. And then I would say very much study how they behave online. So what does it mean? If your audience is Generation Z or something, observe where they talk, how they talk, read about it, look into YouTube, look into online spaces. These people, again, are growing up with online. For us, it's crazy that they're constantly online, and that's how they like to book their meal, like to talk to their friends, like to work. And most of them are, by the way, freelancers. It's like, I think yesterday they even said it's around 70-something% these days that these younger people are mostly freelancers, not because they're trying to can't find a other job to do. They basically choose to do that. They're not as static as we were. They're using all different sorts of communication. So I would say observe how they behave and observe what they like. So what does it mean? Where do they tag each other's friends? Where do they hang out? What do they talk about? What's important to them? Observe the advertising space. So the companies that are next to you in your kind of area, how do they talk to them? What do they say? What works? What's really a big fail these days? There's so many advertising and companies that force things at young people, and they're like, oh my God, I'm not going to buy this car from you. Like, please let it go. So, or you booked somewhere and you went for a holiday, and you know how these companies sometimes work, and you get an email suddenly, it's even me, after, do you want to go there again? I'm like, no, I've just been. That's not a good way of communicating with me. So there you go. So I would say, first of all, know your audience. Second of all, know what they talk about, what's important to them, where are they? And slowly start using that at your work, whether that's your online communication or whether that's a team that you're working with and you're not sure because there's an age gap or something, how to communicate with them. Ask them. So if it's your team, talk to them, ask them. It's the best way to find out. I work with a lot of young people, and I can
that was a great answer. And adding to something that you received on your burger, and also about the pass to the Queen's Palace. How do we copyright? There was a question there about storytelling. Is there a form of copyrighted account? Because since you've been invited, if I can take your picture and prove it mine, can I do it?
What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I wouldn't advise on that because obviously that comes with legal issues. And I think if you send it again, they would be like, oh, well, already we invited someone. I mean, that's a kind of funny answer, but of course you need to put your logo on it, and if then anyone steals that idea, they'll be in trouble because obviously there's legal stuff that we can do. Now, I wouldn't say, you know what I always think about art. There's this amazing book that I can suggest to you guys. I'm very sorry that I don't remember the name. I'm bad like that. But the name of the book is Steal Like an Artist. So whoever knows this book or doesn't know this book, go to Amazon, grab that book. It's a really good book about basically, I would say, get inspired of all these ideas and things that you see, but don't copy. Because if something's copied already, that means it's been done and it has its moment, and that just should kind of force you and excite you to do something new. So I would say totally get inspired, totally copy in your mind things that you see. We copy every day, things that people wear, things that people listen to, someone's new car. Oh, I want a car like that. Of course, it's natural. We naturally kind of get inspired and think about things and copy things and save pictures to Instagram, or I want my kitchen to be like that, but then reinvent it and make it your own. Make it better, because there's no gonna be another Facebook. If someone else tells me, if I meet them, be like, I'm gonna make another Facebook, it's gonna be big. Well, sorry, mate, it's been done, it's working well, think of something new, right? So that's what I would say. Get inspired, observe, put it in your notes, reinvent, make it your own. Make it your own, because again, with the even the visual for the queen,
Okay.
that was something very
As a creator, is there a copyright that I can make?
We literally blasted this visual without even thinking twice. Made
As
sure
a copyright, as a creator,
that's it.
can I get a copyright of my drawings?
Of course, I mean, if you yes, if you're interested in making it very legal, then of course you should talk to any lawyer that you work with or something. If you want to make your art copyrighted, the best thing, the quickest way to copyright your work is to put your damn logo. So make sure you put your logo on every visual that you put out there, or any piece of writing, or any videography, or any idea, or anything like that. Make sure you put your name. That's automatically, legally, your copyright. Now, if someone
Great. Yeah, I remember you talking about this logo before as well. Yeah, we have another question.
But I would say that putting logo is the first way to make
just
sure
a
that
moment.
this is something that we produced.
Yes. Jabalal, this question is from Jabalal. If you can't draw or don't have excellent artistic flair, what tools or software to translate a photo or image into animated storyboards?
Right. Of course, and that's another thing I'm always saying, like, it's okay if you can't draw and all that. There's a lot of different tools that you can use if you want to visualize stuff. I mean, I don't want to just call it tools, because if it's for your work and you really feel like, no, I mean, I love this idea, but I can't do it, hire someone who can. So that's one idea. If it's really hard, you need to go, basically, you can totally go to open space websites where you can get pictures from. So that's an option. Pay for the subscription or something and get huge libraries of pictures for any sort of thing you need. We all know there's all these online companies and platforms that you can basically hire someone to do things like that for you. So I even for a second worked in the past at People Per Hour. I mean, there's loads of companies like that. So there's always ways you can find a way to still run your ideas, although you're not the one doing it. Because just so you remember, I'm running a business, actually two now, and two podcasts, and I have no time to always do that. So the royal couple, yes, I've done it because I had a moment. That was me drawing. But whilst I'm talking to you, two other people are doing something, another person is at an event. Get help, whether that's from online tools or whether that's from online websites with visuals, or just hire someone who is even a junior, a student. They're excited to work with you, and talk to them about creating some content or creating something for your team, anything like that, or a new pitch. There's ways online. The online space in
Jamaica,
is a beautiful gift that we all have in this day of age that we didn't have in the past.
Hey, good morning. Well, good morning from Jamaica. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, hello.
Good morning. Hi, Natalia. How are you? You got a rousing round of applause at the end of your presentation, let me tell you. So I can say that our attendees here at the auditorium thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you so much for your information.
Thank you. Oh, I wish I could see.
Awesome. I'm
Thank you
sure
so much.
that the
Pleasure.
attendees here have
Seriously,
some questions.
if one idea inspired one
person,
person, my job's done. Thank you so much.
Any questions, anyone here? Anybody? Barrington has a question.
Afternoon, morning. Yes, you were talking about storytelling and the steps you would need.
Afternoon and morning.
Go viral. What considerations would you need to go viral if you had to use content before audience, or you should think of your audience first before you put the content there? Or should you have the content, audience, and then the platform?
Always think before, yes.
Yeah, that's the consideration. I mean, you touch on.
So what platform do you mean you would like to use?
Think of the audience first. But a lot of people stick to content, and then it when they put it out there, they realize, whoa, I didn't get the reaction I wanted. Yes.
Yeah.
But then there is a exactly. And you realize
and it's such a great content. Why didn't it work? Damn it, right?
A tremendous
yeah.
Impact, because on my platform, I kind of have age series of 18 to 69. So I'm trapped with the 18 to 25, but I'm still talking to someone who is 50. Yes, so how do you now have that consideration before I put something out there to consider, all right, watch your audience first, and your contents come after, then how do I really consider the platform?
So can I ask you, what do you do? What is it that brings 18-year-olds and 60-something-year-olds your way? I'm very curious.
Apps that I use on the games. So a 40-year-old could go on, they will love the app, but then when it comes to the games, they kind of like, this is like a 16-year-old, and they pull out.
Do you have everything in one space? Sorry if I'm getting too detailed, but just trying to understand. Do you have all the games in one space, or is there a way you divide them between these ages? One space. Right. So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to, I'm known to be a fixer. So straight away, my brain goes into like, how can I help? How can I help? Let's discuss this. So I understand we're at a conference. I'll make a very kind of high level, let's say, answer for you. But if I can help anyhow, I would think that you're right. If I'm 60-something, if I'm getting to a space, online space, where there's so many options and there's a game for 18-year-old, they'll be like, not really my thing. I would suggest then maybe looking into packaging it into separate spaces. So can you actually create different spaces for your apps? Can you create an app that's just for the young people and you learn how to communicate to them? Middle, let's say, aged as well audience, and kind of older audience. Can you just package it differently? Because naturally, I'm not going to be looking at things for Generation Z online myself, or I'm not going to be looking into my retirement options yet, or a game for let's say someone older than me that maybe it's not something that I like. So I would say that maybe too many things in one space. But again, it's very hard for me to give you any more detailed suggestion if I don't know exactly exactly what you do and we don't have more time. So I would say, maybe compartmentalize this audience, because naturally you will confuse everyone and not everyone's going to be interested in everything.
And Barrington, you can always follow her.
So hopefully that gives any sort of suggestion. But again, I would need to know more.
If you have further questions and need further clarity, then you can feel free. I'm sure Natalia will be more than happy to assist you with that concern. Do we have any other questions from the auditorium? Anyone? Okay. All right, Raj, I am clear here. Do you have any further questions for Natalia?
No further questions from online participants as well. Thank you very much, Natalia, for your time and giving us more. And I'm going to take your challenge. I hope all our participants will take the challenge of drawing a confession today.
Thank you so much.